So I'm experimenting with subwoofer gains right now. So basically, what makes sense is setting the subwoofer to 25 hertz or setting the subwoofer here to like 60 hertz and then setting the crossover frequency in the subwoofer itself to like like 60 hertz or 80 hertz. Because even if we set the crossover here to 63, if we go to the frequency generator, right? I have a subwoofer knob right here. It's set to 50% right now, and the subwoofer gain and DSP is set to plus 12. So if we go from 20 right up to the crossover frequency, you can see it plays, and we go up, and the actual crossover value is like 150 maybe. So if we want like a very aggressive crossover, because this is labeled just like it's labeled in the stock DSP app, 25 is the best digital crossover frequency for the subwoofer, because if we go from 20, I can hear 20, 40, 50, 60, and it starts to fade from 80 and up, right? So at 150, there's almost no subwoofer anymore. And if we go 60 and down, it gives you that perfect bass response, right? So maybe 25 or like 32, right? Let's test this again. 20. Now we go 20 up. 60 is great. 80 is quieter. And the actual crossover is like 130. So the problem is the crossover in the DSP chip is very it looks like this. So it should be something like this, right? So if we set it to like 80, right, it should look like this, the actual crossover value. So it plays all the frequencies up to 80, and then it goes down. It doesn't play anything anymore. But the problem is that it looks more like this. Right, so we have a very, very wide crossover. So it doesn't mute these frequencies, but it makes them quieter over a very long range. So if we want the subwoofer to play the lowest frequencies that we need, because the perfect crossover frequency is 80, and for some cars like mine, it should be more like 60, right? So what we can do is we can set the crossover here to like 63, and then go to the subwoofer and turn the crossover knob to the value that we need, right? So we use the good crossover on the subwoofer. And then if you want like a better crossover, so if your subwoofer crossover is also wide, right? So the thing we can do is set it to 25, and like I said, the actual crossover value is somewhere around like 80, and then it goes more like this, right? So this is just a visual representation. This is much better for getting a like punch out of the subwoofer, because if you set the physical crossover on the subwoofer to like 150 hertz, right, and you set this to like 63, what it does, because the subwoofer is worse at making these frequencies as loud as these ones, right? Because it requires much more power. So the frequency response of the subwoofer is more like this. Becomes more like this, right? So it plays the 50, 80, 90 louder than these. So this is like if we if we only set the crossover frequency, the physical crossover frequency of the subwoofer to this value, to like 80, right? That's how it plays. And if we want to compensate for this, we choose 25, and what it does is that like 25 on our head units, it looks like this. Looks like this. So we get this and we apply this to the physical frequency response of the subwoofer, and we get the compensation to 0 basically. So the frequency response of the subwoofer becomes flat because we use this crossover. This crossover looks like this, and the physical frequency response of the subwoofer looks like this, right? Like this. And that's how we balance the frequency response. And depending on the subwoofer, if you have a subwoofer that is like tuned to play the lowest frequencies in a good way, in the same intensity as the higher frequencies, then you may not need this trick, setting it to 25. But if you have a subwoofer, a bad subwoofer like mine, which is an underseat subwoofer, and it is not efficient at playing like the lowest frequencies, then you may need this trick to make it sound perfect. So right now, this is set to 25, the boost is set to +12, so we don't hear the speakers, right? And the speaker frequency response is at 0, right? That you understand, right? So we go here, we go to 20. 20 is almost inaudible. Oh, that's all right. I can hear the 20 coming from my subwoofer. It's really trying. But 30 is like loud. 40 is also loud. 50 is also loud. And then we go up to 60. And it flattens out, so we don't get the boost to these frequencies, right? And then we go to 80. It is kind of quieter, because if we the door speakers have the best frequency of these speakers is like 80, 60, right? Somewhere in that area. So we want the crossover to we want the subwoofer to play the 80 hertz frequency, but we don't want it to be too loud, because this will make our frequency response very imbalanced in the 80 hertz area. So that's how we get the best subwoofer crossover, even if you don't have the best subwoofer. And it's good because our DSP that's built into this radio allows you to make these digital adjustments and like compensate for the crooked, like for the unbalanced frequency response of the subwoofer. And if you want to hear the result, we can go to preset 1. This is my preset that I use for these GBLs. And we can go to maybe to YouTube Music. If I have it installed, let me see. May have it installed somewhere. No, P G. No, I don't have YouTube Music, but I can use Telegram. Wait a second. I can go to Telegram and play one of my tracks. and the low frequencies are very audible. It's almost even too much. But I have this bass knob right here. This is now at 0. Right, so this is how I get the perfect response.